श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति। Once there were two Vaishnavas. They went to a town. One made his hosting under a banyan tree. Near that banyan tree, a prostitute used to live there on a second story of a very beautiful building. And another Vaishnava, he went and he was hosting in a temple in the middle of that town. This Vaishnava, who was living near prostitute, he was thinking in one mood, and in temple thinking another mood. He was thinking, who was living in temple, that that Vaishnava is there. He is with prostitute. No? And he was saying that so many persons are coming and going. And this Vaishnava, being with prostitute nearby, he was thinking that, oh, I am so full, unfortunate that I could not live in temple. He is so fortunate that he is always living with duties, doing kirtan and chanting and remembering. He is thinking of that Vaishnava and thinking that he is so fortunate. And that Vaishnava always thinking of that prostitute and that criticizing him. I am so lucky that I am in temple and he is a wretched person, he is there. Always thinking and criticizing. In the meantime, the time of death came. Who was in temple? He saw that three very dangerous shape, they are coming to them. Told them, who are you? We are death. We are Yamadut. We have come to take you. Oh, I am not that, he is there. With prostitute, he is there, I am not that person. Because that he is always with that prostitute, thinking like that. I am so holy person, I am in temple. You don't know, no. We know all these things and practice. Especially we are come for you. And then where will you take me? In Swarga? No, we'll take you to the Hanuman, bad quality of most wretched place you will take it and punish for you. You are always thinking and criticizing, but he is like Sadhu, he is always thinking of you, holy name and everything. So, My instruction is of Rupa Goswami that never criticize anyone. If he is doing bad, he is doing bad for him. But we should not criticize anyone. If you criticize anyone, that this is wrong, this fellow is very bad, then all these qualities will come and Jam will come first to you to punish you. Always try to remember the good qualities of Vaishnavas, of Krishna, hearing and chanting and remembering. I've heard from anywhere that my disciples, they criticize ISKCON leaders and all that. You should not do. I don't want. Whether they are ISKCON or not, they are out of any cost and greed. They are bad. Even you should not criticize. Try to always remember and to glorify devotees. This is good way. So Rupa Goswami has told all these things and Swamiji has also told. So you should be careful for this. Now we are going. So much is to tell. Begin from where? From 75 page. Last stanza.
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has commented as follows upon this verse. One who has not yet...
What was the last teaching of Srila Rupa Goswami? That Swamiji explained, Seva Sadhak Rupena Siddha Rupena. Can you tell? In Siddha you should see that Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami, what we see in Sadhak Rupa. Now in Siddha Rupa he is always serving Srimati Radhika. Tambularpan, giving betterness. Padamardhan, message. Helping Radhika to meet Krishna. By all means, he is expert. Like Nikunja Juno Ratikeli Siddhai Jajalir Bhejukti Rapekshani. Like this. Tatrati Daksha Dati Ballabhasya Bande Puroshi. This is Siddha Seva of Gurudev. And what is external? Second slok. What of Guru Vastra? Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya. This is out of, but as a Sadhak Rupena. And Gurudev in Siddha Rupena, Nikunja Juno Ratikeli. These are. So, Sadhak Rupena, Rupa Goswami was doing in shape of Rupa Goswami like Sadhak. Gurudev like Sadhak, Shravanam Kirtanam and doing all this. And internally, that Rupa Goswami is not Rupa, he is Raghunath Das Goswami, he is in, there are Siddha. And after that they are, what they doing? Sri Rupa Manjari Pada Padma Goshtendra Nandan Bhujar Pritamastikaya Has Modatah Konaka Gauri Padara Binda Sambahanani Shanakais Tabaking Karish. Like when a day will come, that Rupa Manjari will call me and order me to do this. When Radha and Krishna both are tired in Vrindavan walking here and there. Radhika is more soft, so is more tired. She has given her head in the laps of Krishna and feet in the lap of Rupa Manjari. Krishna is gently going, yeah. And sometimes with Pitambar he is washing the mouth of Srimati Radhika. Very affectionate. And Rupa Manjari, massaging very gently, softly and sweetly the face of Srimati Radhika. Nearby, Rati Manjari is standing and he is fanning, she is fanning, getting chamar. Rup Manjari called by his eyes, through eyes. Come on, come on. I will give you a remnant Maha Prasadam. You should take this faith, you should gently massage. I am going to bring water, very beautiful water, because they are thirsty. Telling this, Rati Manjari came and she took that thing. So when I will have a day to see and to serve like this, when Rupa Goswami, Rati Goswami, they will give me this remnant of this Maha Prasad. This is Siddha Rupena. So he is telling, Siddha Rupena Chatrahi Tadbhav Lipsuna, those who are, have some, even a little, what? Desire to say. लोग का क्या? Anything. They should do like this. So Brajalokanusaar होता, that Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, our all disciplic acharyas are Brajavasi. We should follow them. They never worshipped Rukmini Raman. Brajalokanusaar, not like Dwarka, not like Puri, not like all other places. Like in Vrindavan, Brajalokanusaar, what Rupa Goswami has done, we will have to follow. We will not follow to Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari outwardly. In Siddha Bhav, we can follow by mind. We can have wishes like this. But we will have to follow and practice. If you are following Rukmini, Raman, Jagannath, Balram, Subhadra, they are done. Rupa Goswami, they are prayed only for their mercies. So we can pray for their mercy. But actually, there should be no 2, 3, 4, 5 Ishtadev. Ishtadev we know? Only Krishna and Radhika should be in our heart. We only want to serve them as a Ishtadev, but we will honor all. We will honor Sri Gopishwar Mahadev, no harm. We can honor Hanuman, no harm. We can honor Balram, Jagannath, Subhadra, because they are same as Krishna Tattvataha. But we can take only Srimati Radhika and Krishna in our heart. Lalita Vishakha. All the associates of Krishna. Giriraj Govardhan, no harm. Jamuna, no harm. So, if anything want, Giriraj is there to give everything. Not to Ganesh, not to anyone. Nothing we have. Only Radha Krishna. We should not want anything from Krishna because he is beloved. And Krishna is only Nandanandan, Jashodanandan and Radha Kanta. He is not Ishwar that he can fulfill your desires. Understand? Krishna is not their Ishwar. Not like a god or demigod or supreme personality of Godhead, not in Vrindavan Braja. What he is? He is only son of Jashodananda. Controlled by Yashoda. He is Radha Kanta. No Krishna. If gopis have to ask something, they will go to Giriraj Govardhan. Nand Baba will worship Salagram and tell that my boy should be always happy. My son should be always happy. So this mood should come. This is Brajalokanusarataha. What Brajavasi like Rupa and Sanatan have done for sadhan bhajan, we should only accept. Don't go beyond them, that I am generous more than Rupa and Sanatan. No? So we will have to know what Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all Sada Goswami or all Acharyas have done and how to follow. You will have to know. And if you are not knowing by any good Vaishnava, more superior than us, we don't have this thing. Then, Brajalokanusarataha, we will have to do all our function, cultivate our all activities like Braja. Braja means all are not Brajbasi in Vrindavan. There are some rickshaw puller having knife. In night, they will take in their rickshaw and in the midway they will cut and loot all. They are not Brajbasi. The Pandas always want money. They are not Brajbasi. In Brajbasi, some rare can be real Brajbasi, not all. So Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, actually they are Brajbasi because Swamiji has told anywhere that my home is in Vrindavan, office in Vrindavan, and my practice is in Vrindavan. So his home is Vrindavan, so he is Brajbasi. No? We should try to follow his internal modes. Oh, some are telling that Narayan Maharaj is defining him, not glorifying. What will be more glory than this? I am telling you.
This is the essence.
Highest, very highest. Or mood be there, object will be there. But don't think that I am Manjari. Otherwise we will be finished. We can have greed anything to marry a princess, Elizabeth or anyone. No harm. But don't go to Elizabeth and tell that I am going to marry you. Otherwise your head will be at once taken. Keep it in your heart only. Don't want to what to enjoy any lady and do this. No. And then
This is the essence of all instruction in the matter of devotional service.
Gaur Praman Rup Goswami ki Jai.